Hi, this is Peggy from Raw. So our guest today is Ryad Hacene, who's the head of the investor club at FrenchFounders. So thank you so much for being with us today, Ryad.
Thank you for having me, Peggy. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you. So FrenchFounder is a global network of French-speaking entrepreneur, executive, and investors. So many of them are in financial services, some are in retail and technology, obviously, and in the usual food and beverage, because we are speaking about a lot of French people here. And the investor club is composed of now more than 200 members. You're raising a fund, so things are going pretty well. So I'm looking forward to hearing about your thoughts on the new normal in the financial services.
Thank you, Peggy.
Okay, so first question, from your perspective, what would be some of the lasting impacts of COVID in the new normal?
I hope and believe that COVID-19 has raised awareness among people that we can't continue to live with so much social inequalities without taking into account ecologies in our decisions. So people are more and more conscious of what's going on, and it will influence the new normal in finance because people are taking into account these main issues like social ecology in their daily decision process. For instance, in France, people won't buy anymore avocado coming directly from Mexico, car who are not respectful for the environment. So there is a shift in people's mind, and this shift is reflected also in the corporate world, as we have increase of ethics consideration in corporate and investment decision. So all the investors are working with now are more and more focused on a project with impact.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big shift for the venture capital industry and the financial services. And there are also different problems that the financial services will have to tackle, because in a social point of view, now a lot of shops, restaurants won't accept cash as a payment method. That's the case in New York. That's the case in Los Angeles. So financial institutions need to find a way to get everybody to bancarization. So that's why I think FinTech industry has a huge role to play in this particular context, because I think the historical players in the financial industry, for various reasons, can't react to what's going on as quickly as they would have wanted, or either they don't have even the technology to do it.
Yeah. And, impact investing, financial inclusion, as you mentioned, these are themes that come back again and again. And I think Europe is a bit more at the forefront than North America, especially regarding impact investing, but it's coming here. In terms of regulations and policies, what do you see coming up? And maybe that's linked with the points you just made, maybe it's not. What's your perspective on that?
People, especially entrepreneurs, need to be quick in their decision if they want to survive. That was the main topic in various board meetings over the past few months, because you won't be blamed for taking a risk during a pandemic, but for sure, if you didn't try anything during this special period, you will be held accountable for it. So if you want to be quick in your decision, you have to be in an environment with a soft regulation. For instance, in countries like China, a lot of regulations that restrict digital operation were lifted temporarily. So I think there will be a lot of opportunities, especially for fintechs, to take advantage of this new period.
Yeah, and we've seen a bit the same in Canada with some regulations shifted for the banks mainly, so you wouldn't have to go to branch to show your ID, you know, that type of things. And everyone is hoping first that it will stick, and second that the pace the regulators got used to in the last few months will stay the same in the future. So that's very similar to your perspective. If I switch gear and look at the global financial order, so you work with a very, very global network, what do you see in terms of potential changes down the line between, you know, reshoring of a supply chain, a lot of debt, obviously protectionism? What's your perspective on that?
I think that policy makers, as you said, must ensure that the financial system remains capable of safely meeting the public needs for financial service, especially through digital channels. Also prevent all potential cyber threats, as we are all working from home right now. They also need to prevent social crisis with unemployment, especially at the present time in the US, because the situation is pretty bad right now. So I think they need to keep rates low or negative for several more years, potentially squeezing traditional bank profits. I hope that will be the case, but we will see in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an interesting balance between the inflation, which we haven't really seen come back actually, and the level of debt, and then you look at the interest rate for the bank. So I'm curious to see what the next 12, 18, 24 months gonna have for us. In terms of resetting the competitive positioning, so obviously when there are big crises like that, it changes and it gives opportunities for maybe new players, maybe existing players to win, sometimes unfortunately to lose. What's your perspective on this winner and these losers in financial services?
I think the winners will be in the tech industry, especially in FinTech, because maybe I'm wrong. FinTech companies should be somewhat insulated from the impact of the recession relative to traditional financial services firm, due to market and business model dynamics, because FinTech companies are generally more resilient given a less balance sheet intensive model. Most consumer facing FinTech companies operate only in an online environment and can still conduct business despite social distancing. Many enterprise FinTech solutions, such as online payment system, fraud and authentication solution, trading infrastructure, are now mission critical. Another big advantage for the tech companies, it's that generally they have a better ability to manage remote workers and working from home for a lengthy period of time. And also, I think we will see a lot of collaboration between traditional institution and FinTech, because coming out of the downturn, like disaster recovery plans now and in the future will likely include heavy reliance on FinTech solution, and FinTech's company will likely help in distributing, for instance, SMB loans and stimulus payments, etc., etc.
Yeah, I do think we're going to see that dynamic with FinTech infrastructure, B2B enterprise to really benefit from that, and hopefully get more traction with some financial institutions. So staying on the financial institutions topic, a lot of the members of the club and of French Founder at large are in the financial services industry in large banks. Where do you see digital transformation going for the more incumbent or entrenched players?
Well, like big players, like historical players, like the corporates are going to work more and more with FinTech. B2B FinTech companies are helping financial institutions to improve their workflows and online consumer experience. And this work that should continue at pace or potentially accelerate. Because when, let's take the case of, the example of France, when governments give access to loans, to capital, to everything, to money, they have to review the application, but they don't have the workforce and agility to review all the applications. So, for instance, like the BPI, so the French Public Bank of Investment, was held by different FinTech to process all the PGE, like the loan guaranteed by the state, because otherwise they won't be able to do it. So we'll see a lot of more and more collaboration between these two actors.
Yeah, so it's interesting because in the US as well, a lot of fintechs were helping, allocating capital. Actually, in Canada, it was not the case. The government took the decisions to go through the BDC, which is the Bank of the Development of Canada, so the equivalent of the BPI, and traditional banks. They didn't want fintech players to play. So I didn't realize that France, like in the US, did that. So yeah, the geography is always very interesting because you see these discrepancies for no reason really. But so last question, which is a bit more light. What have you changed in your day-to-day life? What good habits might have you picked up during these last few months?
Okay, so in a business point of view, for most investors who spend time in the venture and growth space, the feedback is mixed, because some remain open for new investment, while others are putting a pause on deals for the next few weeks. Most are focused on their existing portfolio companies and cash runway. They are also in my work. They are more focused on the valuation. So investors are rethinking valuation. So many opportunities will likely face pricing pressure, etc., etc. So the business is changing a little bit, because of the COVID-19. But me, in a personal point of view, I wasn't affected so much by COVID-19 as FrenchFounders is a startup. I'm used to work from home, so I would say give you more flexibility and allow you to work from anywhere. During the pandemic, I was in Paris, New York, Chicago, Seattle. Now I'm in LA, and I think that's an important argument for companies, because we, the new generation, are like the fact that we can work from everywhere. So I think that's the main change for me.
You've been able to manage traveling a lot where everyone is stuck at home. I need to hear offline how you manage that.
The flight tickets are cheaper, so you can go wherever you want without overpaying for the tickets. So I was in New York, now I'm in LA, just because I prefer to work you can see the sun because I'm at home, but that's an important argument for me.
That makes a lot of sense, and you're probably leveraging your couple of passports to be able to travel like that. That's always
exactly.
That's always helpful. Well, thank you so much, Ryad, for taking the time and sharing your thoughts and insights that really were super valuable. Have a great evening, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Peggy. That's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope I'll see you again in a post-COVID world in Toronto or New York or Paris. I don't know. Thank you very much, Peggy.
Wherever. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Peggy.